This is an evolving situation. We have a single case that needs to be investigated and explored.
Today I am joined by the Territory Controller and our Chief Health Officer to advise you on an emerging territory situation. I can advise that we have a positive case for coronavirus at the granite mine in the Northern Territory. I will provide you detail on what we know and what we are doing. The gentleman travelled to the Northern Territory from Bendigo, Victoria on the 17th of June via Queensland. In Queensland...
Hey guys, it's Matt. I'm going to pop in and out of this video as I show more of what I just showed you. That came from Dave in Australia. I don't know what to make of it. I would love to make fun of it, but I can't. It's too disturbing. I don't know how this video is going to go, but we'll look at a clip. I'll come back and talk, look at your comments. Before I show a little bit more of that press conference where they're making a big deal, a gigantic deal out of 1C. 1C. Like, remember what Teddy Tutanka's friend said in Dances with Wolves? 1G. One more. You know, tell the story again. 1G. 1C. Maybe I can make fun of it. I can't really. It's too disturbing. Not a big D in the sky. A C. Just a C. They're making this huge deal. It's Northwest Territory, very remote. You know, it's probably another Australian state the size of Texas. I'll show you some more of this. I don't know what to make of this. This is like a reality breakdown. And why people are putting up with this is a reality breakdown. Before I show you a little bit more, guys, I don't know if I'm going to talk about this in this video or in a completely separate video. I'm sure you've noticed this as well. I'm unnaturally busy. Now, I don't have kids. I don't have a fiance trying to, put together a huge wedding in the Hollywood Hills. I don't have family coming and going. People know to generally leave me alone. It doesn't make any sense how just the little things come and go. It just, the air conditioner breaks this and that. It's like, it's just one thing after another. Now, I couldn't imagine if you having kids or a wife and families coming and, the mother's coming down from New Hampshire this week with the cousins and all this. I couldn't imagine people go out and do or have to travel out on business. I can't imagine. And I'm sure you feel the same. Do you feel the same way? Now, the reality is designed to keep us busy, of course, to keep us distracted from, all the things we've talked about, understanding who we really are. And it's designed that way. I'm just saying it seems like the notch is turned up or the volume's been turned up on it. I don't know how this could be accomplished, but it seems unnatural to me. I don't want to, here we go again with the crazy, ridiculous conspiracy. But I throw this stuff out just to see what you think in the comments, and I'm being honest. It doesn't add up that there's this much stuff thrown at me, just a guy with 4 cats. It just doesn't make any sense. But that's not what this video is about. Let me show you a little bit more of this, and I'll come back in a moment.
In Queensland, he was directed to quarantine as they had directions in place for anyone travelling from Victoria. Based on the testing, we believe he caught coronavirus in that quarantine hotel in Brisbane. He then travelled to the Northern Territory to work on the mine site. As soon as his test came back positive around midnight, approximately 12 hours ago, the Director for Centre for Disease Control was notified and our emergency procedures kicked in. Everyone on the mine site has gone into isolation and the mine started shutdown processes and contact tracing commenced. I and other members of the SEMC were notified about 8 a.m. this morning. Staff have been working on this since midnight.
Okay, you get the gist of what that fine fellow's presentation was about. His turn at the podium. Okay, let me just say it one more time. It's 1C, 1G, 1G. It's not a big D. Even if it was 1D, so what? How many people are dying on I-95 right now between Boston and D.C.? It's 1C. And they mobilize hundreds and hundreds of people. This guy takes the podium. I'll show you. Somebody else comes and takes the podium. Somebody else comes and takes the podium. Some police officer mobilizing this medical authority, the Australia C, D, ABC. Hundreds of employees working through the night. What? Now I know, look, Matt, yeah, it's pretty bad when even I'm surprised as to what this not milk is capable of. What is going on in Australia, and this isn't the first time. I mean, people have been sending me stuff for months. It does continue to surprise me that this is possible. I'm not one to underestimate this, but this is absolutely mind-boggling. I'll show you a little more and come back.
Of those 1654, 70 are considered close contacts. They are all on the mine site and are being moved to the Centre for National Resilience at Hale Springs.
All right, let me cut him off as soon as possible. Probably rather have me summarize than to keep watching that creep. It is remarkable with the tracking and tracing element and all that's being mobilized from a logistics standpoint over one guy, one G, one C. Okay, he goes on to say how this is a mine site. I should have said Northwest Territory. For those, it's very remote. There's not a lot of Australian citizens that live up there. There's no major cities like Melbourne or Sydney. Okay, it's very remote. A mine site. Now there's still 750 workers that, of course, they're still on the mine site. Everything's being shut down. Apparently, what these guys are talking about, or at least they're all. Well, I'll just call it the big Q. You know, I don't know how. I'm going to get a banner ad for this probably anyway. Q and teeny. They're teeny. The 750 at the mine site. Oh, they ain't going anywhere. Your wedding was coming up, boy. You ain't going anywhere. Sit down. They're stuck up there. But there's 900 that have, since they were aware of this and they traced it back. There's 900 that have left the mine site. 900. They're in touch with every one of them. Every one of them is being tracked. And then they're talking about who's come in close contact with that 900. They're in touch. There's hundreds of employees working on a single 1G. Okay. Look, guys, I'll show you a little bit more there's a couple other creeps that come up here. But there's no doubt Sweden is a test case, a control for this whole thing, for the sentient world simulation. Australia is also a control. It was a control for guns as well. Australia is a laboratory for this system. There's no doubt about it.
Health officer, then the territory controller, provide more information and context on what we have done, what we are doing, and what we are prepared to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. This is a lot to take in. The first thing, I'd like to thank all of the various teams that have worked through the night dealing with this issue.
The current guy at the podium is like a bizarro world Captain Picard. He's going to say, make it so, but in the reverse fashion, a bizarro world fashion. He says it's hard. What does he say? This is a lot to take in. What? What if you had 40,000 C's or G's? It's one G. What do you mean it's a lot to take in? What is he talking about? And the minions of the system, that's where they run the same scripts. They have to. There's always, whenever there's a major event, and one of the main reasons I'm making this video is they're making this a major event. Like, on par with, it's whatever happened in Florida, a week ago, those, was it the Champlain Towers in Florida? Like, this is an you know what I think about that. This is like the equivalent. It's one guy that has a sniffles. And they're treating it like a major event. But whenever there is a major event, or they treat something like a major event, they run the same script. And it's the head minion has to thank the other departments. How many times did we see this in the Legolas event? Florida and the gambling town, and all those types of events. It's always, I'd like to thank this team and that team and ATF and blah blah blah. They always have to thank the teams. It's part of a script that the minions have to run in some kind. But just show you a little bit more of this guy, and then we'll get to the last guy, and then sum up the insanity.
in touch with them, and you might appreciate that contact tracing isn't just a text message, it's actually a conversation about where you are, where you went, and these include people who live here, in particularly Darwin, Alice Springs, but also may have been transiting through here. They may have been to the market or
I'm not going to show you this part, guys, but a real press conference starts, not just a presentation where they take questions from apparently press in the audience. And perhaps the most disturbing thing about this, and I watched about half of that, it goes on for another 15 minutes. I need to watch the back end, and I'll make sure of this before I make this video live, but at least the questions I listened to so far, nobody says anything. Everyone's like asking serious questions. Are you sure you know that he was at this hotel? Are you sure that this guy's talking about all this massive tracing infrastructure? Not one person in the press is like, don't you think you're going a little too far? What do you mean? Don't you think we're treating this a little bit too? It's one guy. Like, nobody asks any question. Nobody pushes. Is anybody surprised? Of course not, especially Matt. It's the press. Of course. We're talking about the ultimate minion that serves the system without in any way being aware of how they're serving the system. But this guy's talking about, he says to the press, so you'll be happy to know that it's not just a text message, that tracing. It's not just we invade somebody's privacy with a personal conversation. Everyone in the press, yay! It's not just a text message. Yeah. So we ask them where they've been, where they going, who they've been with. We need you to list every woman you slept. I'm sorry to be offensive. Anyone you slept with in the last 10 years. But C's only been around since the early part of 2020. It doesn't matter. We need you to list out everything you did for 10 years. Get on it. It's like, what? Nobody's pushing back. Okay, let me just finish. Get these clowns and then I'll come back. Get whatever these clowns are going to say in this video. Get this part over with.
Times to find out where people actually went and who they mingled with. So the information that we will get over the coming hours and days, we will share with you.
He says we will find out where people went and who they mingled with. But he said it's hard to. I have to come back because you probably didn't catch that. And who? I'm not gonna. Can I do it like he? And who they mingled? I don't know. And who they mingled with? What? Okay.
Developments. We are deploying a rapid response team down to the mine site. They will go with additional PPE to ensure that the facility has sufficient coverage for the full 14-day period in the event that they are isolated and contained for the full 14 days.
I'll have a don't laugh contest with you right now. I'm going to say we'll say it seriously and we'll stare at each other and whoever laughs loses. He's deploying a rapid response team. This guy, you would think. I saw Kong versus Godzilla on HBO Max, offered up, I think, to HBO Max in theaters at the exact same time so theaters can go out of business more quickly. I saw that. If Kong broke loose, they brought Kong in to deal with Godzilla. If Kong broke loose, this is the type of presentation you would expect, not from one guy. So let's do it. Here's the contest, all right? He's deploying a rapid response team.
But I want to make very clear that we are at risk.
We've talked about many times, and it's a fascinating conversation, a character like Melvin P. Melvin P. Gates of the Belinda and Melvin P. Gates Foundation. We've talked how they're not the same as you and me recently, and I can't talk about that enough. It's so fascinating. Because you just sense deep down it's so true. But see, we're not. These are minions here of what I define as a minion. But do you think that these people here that we're looking at are like the Melvin P. class, where it's not the same as you and me? It's a different. It could be a different incarnation. It could be there could be a chromosome difference. It's for the strict definition of the word. It's alien. I struggle with that. And I'm like, yeah, these are minions. I mean, you look in their eyes, the way they make the presentation, but then I go 50-50. I flip-flop on this back and forth. I say, remember we talk about going under the dragon's wing, a musician or an Alec Baldwin actor going under these people have been in this bureaucracy, this system, and it's much worse it's bad in of course many parts of the United States, like City Hall of Boston or Philadelphia would be way, way, way worse than being in the system in the City Hall of, say, Little Rock, Arkansas. Just the whole feel would be different. But certain parts of Australia, certain parts of Canada, and the EU is worse in terms of just sucking the system in which you work, sucking the soul out of people. So let me just pose the question frankly and directly and get to the damn point. Is this a minion? Is this something that's different than you are, or somebody that just lost their way? All three of these people, the look in their eyes, the stare, just the rote following of directions, directives, orders, protocols, same scripts, stay safe, that same stuff over and over again. I'd like to thank this team and that team. And I do flip-flop and say, this is just these people potentially have been in this system so deep under this, in a way, under the dragon's wing, that they've lost, this to me proves the giveaway soul tokens things that many smart people argue with me about. If these people aren't a different, that minion incarnation, they've given themselves away to not question any of this and just take the podium and believe in every fiber in their being that they're doing the right thing, like a download, or it basically is a download. So I just go back and forth. Minion class, or that which is by definition alien, or just somebody they've just lost, their life is gone from them. They've lost them. They've given themselves away, where they evolve into a direct minion, of course, of the system. But it was somebody. It's a reverse Pinocchio. Were these real boys, where we still are holding on to ourselves, and they devolved into wood. I don't know. I flip-flop back and forth. I would say the latter. I just feel like if I was born the same day as one of these guys, I feel like on our birth we would be the same. We would have equal opportunity to hold on to aspects of ourselves, or to give those aspects of ourselves away, versus the people we're looking at are the same as, a Bez. Did he go to space yet? I was going to Bezos. Did he go to space yet? I've got to follow that. Oh my gosh, I've got to look that up. I don't think so. I think it's July. I don't think they're the same as, I think these are people like us that just lost themselves, versus somebody like Bezos who's not, I don't think is like us at all. Like $1 billion.
Very effective plan, and certainly in this circumstance, as it related to the individual, upon receiving the message from the New South Wales Health, he immediately reported to his supervisor, went into isolation.
I just listened to the entire press conference, the real press conference where the press is asking questions past the presentations that the three made. And of course, did I expect the press in Australia to be pushing back in any way and say, of course not, no, but I had to go through it. It's just like, well, when the person left this area, how many people did they come in contact with? And are you sure that, what about the remote communities that the remote communities are not that close to the mine site? We have people going there now. There's like communities of like 500 people that live 30, 40 miles away or something. Oh, we're going to take care of that. And just the press asking serious questions about logistical steps and infrastructure mobilization. Are you kidding? Who's real anymore? Are you kidding me? Oh, I don't even have any more to say. Like Forrest Gump. That's all I have to say about that. The war in Vietnam? Pull the plug. I don't know. Where's Jenny when you need her? I don't have any more to say. I don't know. I mean, this is not, I need to make one of these videos that we can actually, well, no, I'm not going to, no, that's no point in that. No point in that. Guys, remember, if anything happens at all, I mean, when I make this, I worry that this is not going to, trust me, it knows that I'm kind of poking a bit and then I'm using the press conference, and just in general, if anything happens, remember, I'm done. here. It'll be freevoice.io. One more slap for me. I'm hoping it happens. I'm done with this platform the moment something else happens to me. And hopefully we've been doing this long enough that you would know where to find me. freevoice.io. Thanks.